Hey guys, how you doing? My name's Llama, and today, for a change, rather than talking about how we're going to be making money, I'm starting this series Mr. Moneybags, and this is going to be all about how to spend your money. A lot of focus goes into gold making, and a lot of people enjoy it simply because they like being rich in the game. However, it does also entail the fact that you will end up with a lot of money, and as a result, you can maybe find ways of spending that money that will either improve your gameplay experience or just simply be a lot of fun. So today I thought I'd start off with a way that you can spend this money in the form of weapon enchantments while leveling. Now, this is something that's often overlooked by people, and it is something I've briefly mentioned before in my investments guide as to whether or not this is even a waste of money for the sake of fun, or if it's something that's actually worth doing. So today I'm going to take a look at weapon enchantments using my level 29 rogue alt. I am going to be using 3 different sets of figures, the first of which are going to be looking at the use of my weapons before I replace them today, which were iron patch blades that I'll pop up on the screen for you here. A very nice weapon, but it is a level 15 weapon, so they are very much outdated now, but they do have the fiery weapon enchantment on them. I'm going to be replacing these with the Black Knight and a Zealot Blade, which are the best that I could find on the auction house when I decided I wanted to make this video. They did cost me quite a bit of money, so please do also, if you would like, consider this also to be a guide on spending money on blue weapons. But I'm going to test these weapons both without any enchantment whatsoever and also with a Crusader enchantment on each of them. And I'm going to then run a test killing a series of harpies that are level appropriate in 1000 needles. Then I will be gathering my combat time for each of these harpies that I am killing, tracking my average kill speed, my fastest kill speed, and my slowest kill speed for each of these sets of weapons, and then discussing the results with you to determine whether or not it is worth spending money on weapon enchantments while leveling. So let's dive into it. So for anyone who doesn't know, the enchantments that we are discussing for melee classes here in this video today are going to be Fiery Weapon Enchantment and Crusader. Now, Fiery Weapon Enchantment is basically going to put a chance on your weapon to proc for a fireball that does 40 damage to occur, and just proc for it quite frequently on the targets that you are striking. You can have this on both weapons if you are a dual wielding class, which I do for the sake of this experiment. And Crusader enchantment is a much more expensive higher level enchantment that is going to give you a proc again, but this one is going to heal you and also give you a 100 strength boost as a buff for 15 seconds. Now, obviously, in terms of the kill speed, we're not that interested in the heal, although it is worth mentioning, of course, that if you are looking into this for the purposes of grinding, that heal is something to consider in that it will reduce downtime between mobs, so do bear that in mind when we look at the results later on. So I've made this little graphic here, so we're going to have all of our numbers laid out in this little table format so you can easily contrast and compare all of the results that we've got. And straight off the bat, what we're going to do, we're going to look at our fastest kill times. Now, this is that information here. And I have to say, this particular part of the information is not all that shocking to myself. After we explained how Fiery Weapon Enchantment works with regards to its proc for random damage, it shouldn't be too surprising that the fastest kill we managed to achieve was on the Fiery Weapon Enchanted weapons. Now, this score of 10.91, this is in seconds that it took me to kill a harpy, the fastest harpy kill that I got. And on this occasion I did actually get 5 procs from Fiery Weapon Enchant in about 6 swings, and essentially the mob was just deleted. Now, obviously this is not going to happen on every mob, but these proc based mechanics are always going to give you your quickest kill times. Anyone who's ever played a Wind Fury two-handed Enhancement Shaman in Classic will know how this can work. But what is quite surprising is that we didn't actually have an impressive kill speed for our fastest kill with Crusader. Now, this was quite surprising. Now, admittedly, my sample size is quite low for this experiment. I did only kill 10 mobs on each of these things because I was worried about leveling, and obviously getting that extra level would affect the results. So I did only kill 10 harpies with each of these sets of weapons, so do bear that in mind. But even when I was fortunate enough on a couple occasions to get a very early proc on my Crusader set, the extra strength that I gathered from this buff didn't actually prove to be all that effective in increasing my kill time. And while I did get a kill where I had my Crusader proc on the very first swing, that was the kill time that you see on screen here at 14.96 seconds, not coming anywhere near what I got with the Fiery Weapon enchantment. It doesn't even, in fact, beat what I got without any enchantment whatsoever, where a couple of crits that I got actually meant that my fastest kill time was quicker without the enchantment, where I was better off proccing a crit than I was proccing my Crusader. Now next up we're going to talk about our slowest kill. Now by far and away our slowest kill was with our level 15 weapons with Fiery Weapon enchantment. Now this is not particularly surprising, because if you don't get a proc of Fiery Weapon enchantment, and obviously the weapons are a lower level to begin with, the damage output in general is going to be lower. And then if you get some miss swings and things like that, you are going to have no means of recovering from the poor luck that you experience. So seeing Fiery Weapon as the slowest on the slowest kill is not particularly surprising. Again, not surprising is that the version that has the fastest slowest kill is going to be our no enchantment level 25 weapons. Now this is going to be because of the fact that we aren't really looking for any form of luck with these weapons. The consistency is there just in the base damage of the weapons. So you're not really relying on any kind of proc, so one would expect that the average kill times here would be quite consistent. Now obviously the fastest kill is quite a bit quicker than our slowest kill, but if you were to look at the numbers as a whole, it is actually just that fastest kill that was quite a bit faster than the average. It was the one-off anomaly in this that is dragging these results out a little bit, but our slowest kill is more in line with what we were experiencing on average. The time for our slowest kill with Crusader being very similar to the same weapon set without the enchantment is obviously not surprising at all either, because essentially if you don't get a proc with Crusader, it is essentially the exact same weapon set, so you'd expect the exact same output. That slowest kill obviously did come without getting a single proc on Crusader. Sadly, it is not uncommon to kill a mob or even multiple mobs in a row without getting a proc on Crusader, so this is actually not an anomaly, unfortunately. Now for the big one, the average kill speed, and well, I was very shocked by this. The average kill speed is actually fastest by a long margin with the level 15 weapons with Fiery Weapon enchantment on them. Now this was quite surprising to me when I looked at the results. I've been back over the data, make sure I've got all the maths right, and I absolutely have. The slowest kill that we showed before for the Fiery Weapons was very much an anomaly, and generally speaking the proc rate on Fiery Weapon means that you are obliterating mobs, with Fiery Weapon quite often being your biggest source of damage, at least in the case of my level 29 Rogue. Now I was not expecting the average kill time to be this fast. This was quite phenomenal, and as a result I am already happy to say that Fiery Weapon is 100% worth your money. Now if we look beyond that to look at our two side-by-side level 25-ish weapons comparisons of with and without Crusader, you will actually notice that with Crusader does actually come out at a slower speed per kill than having no enchantment on your weapon at all. Now one thing to consider here is going to be that this is a relatively low sample size, but that being said, you aren't probably going to get massive sample sizes during the leveling process unless you are grinding for levels. If you are questing, chances are you're going to be killing 10 mobs at a time for the sake of a quest, and you're not going to be finding yourself killing thousands back to back, where these numbers obviously start to average out. Now if you were to be grinding mobs, obviously as well as the kill time, the downtime should be factored in. And my downtime while I had Crusader was considerably better than if I was not with the Crusader proc. There was numerous times that I pulled multiple mobs and I was able to survive by virtue of the fact that I would get a Crusader proc and it would heal me, and then I'd get another lucky one back to back, and all of a sudden I've killed both mobs and I've still got half my health left. So that is something to consider. But however, looking at these results and looking at the cost of a Crusader enchantment, I am of the opinion that it is simply not worth doing while leveling. So to conclude, essentially Crusader enchantments while leveling, due to their incredible cost, aren't really worth it in my opinion. I would happily waste all the money in the world getting an enchantment as expensive as this if it weren't for the fact that it isn't actually the very best one out there. If this was ever so marginally better than Fiery Weapon enchant and cost 3 times as much, I would spend the money, and if you've got loads of money, I would recommend it to you too. However, if you can get an enchantment that is not only about a third of the price on average of what the Crusader enchantment is, and is also going to prove to be much more effective in terms of your average kill speed, it's practically impossible to recommend Crusader enchantment from the statistics that I've drawn here when Fiery Weapon enchantment is an option for you. Fiery Weapon enchantment is the absolute winner from this little study that I have done here for you all today. It is about 30 gold, give or take, on average. Obviously that could vary based on your realm, but given the impressive numbers we've seen here, that weapon enchantment can obviously last for over 10 levels plus. We've just seen the difference in average kill speed on a level 15 blue with that weapon compared to level appropriate weapons 10 levels on that don't have the enchantment, and it's still absolutely obliterating it. Which means that if you get this enchantment, it's not unreasonable that you might be keeping the same weapons for 15 or maybe 20 levels. So for the sake of that 30 gold and the increased rate at which you'll level with the fiery weapons, I would highly recommend getting them, as it's going to make your leveling process just so much easier. So, all in all, don't get Crusader, do get Fiery Weapon enchantment, and have a great time. I hope you found the video really helpful. If you did, please do consider liking the video, and if you'd like to be kept up to date with future videos I bring out of a similar nature, including the rest of this series, which I'm looking forward to, looking at different ways in which we can waste a lot of money, then please do consider subscribing to the channel. But for now guys, I'll catch you in the next one. Later!